Hello, everyone. Good morning and a warm welcome once again to our webinar, Accelerate Your Business Outcomes with Microsoft Fabric. Can you please share the deck? Shirley, are we ready?
So please let me know once you are able to see my screen.
Yeah, hello, everyone. Once again, I think good morning and welcome to our webinar. Next slide, please. Yeah, so here is a brief schedule that which we will be covering today. And so we start with, I think, modern data architecture with Fabric, real-time intelligence and operational analytics, and some of the advanced topics like Copilot data agents and AI-powered analytics, migration strategies, and some of the very useful business cases and the best practices, which we will be, I think, with an interactive Q&A session with our experts. Thank you. Thank you once again for joining us. And before we get started, I think, let's do quick introductions. Varma, if we can have it.
Yeah. Hi everyone. This is Varma. I manage the data practice and solutions team here at Quadrant. I'm close to 22 years of experience building large data platforms across different cloud providers. Good to meet you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Varma. Shaikh.
Yeah. Hi everyone. Welcome to this workshop. Specialized in Fabric, Azure Data, and AI and Analytics with over 16 years of experience. Currently MCT at Quadrant. So I'm here to help you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sheikh. And myself, Yogita Banu, and I'm working as a Partner Alliances Manager with Quadrant, and I have over 12 plus years of experience in driving partnerships and customer success. Well, and then we will talk about, I think, what is Quadrant and why Quadrant. Before I get started, I would also have Vamshi to give a quick introduction, and then we'll get started.
Yeah, hi all. Good morning. This is Vamsi. I'm a technical expert in SME for Fabric. I generally work on the architecture implementation and helps the customers to onboard into Fabric. Looking forward.
Thank you. Thank you so much, team. And before we get started, I think, let's go to the next slide. Sure. So first, I would like to quickly give you an overview of Quadrant Technologies. And so what you see here is that we have over 15 years of industry experience, and we have presence across 10 plus countries, and we deliver value to our customers. So we are headquartered in Redmond, Washington. And as I mentioned, we operate in 10 countries with 18 delivery locations across the globe, Americas, EMEA, and APAC. So we also do have 5 offshore delivery centers in India, and Hyderabad being the largest delivery center for us. So in this region, we have our office in Dubai, and we have a strong presence, and we also have some of the emerging engagements in the Dubai market for the past 2+ years. So if we have locations, we can definitely help you bring and also drive value across the global regions. And as you see here in the midsection here, these are some of our recognitions and the certifications which we hold. And we also have been the fastest growing IT services company in North American region. And on the right-hand side, on the most right-hand side, what you see here is on the most of the compliance certifications that we hold. So Quadrant Technologies, it is a HIPAA compliant, GDPR, and ISO 27001 certified. Next slide, please. So we are Quadrant Technologies, we proudly say that we are a Microsoft Solutions partner with some of the great achievements and the designations that we hold in these areas, what you see here. So which is Azure Infra, Data and AI, Digital and App Innovation. And recently we also have secured our solution designation, solution partner designation in security as well. So we have our strong expertise in Fabric and also in migrations, and we are also called, we also have achieved Fabric featured partner, and wherein we help our customers and encourage our customers, I think, to go with the Azure funding options which we hold. So wherein we encourage our customers by providing these services, like we help them with the discovery sessions, assessments, and also any kind of POVs and the POCs. So we also do a lot of webinars and workshops like 5-hour sessions wherein, we help them and train them what exactly is Fabric, what are the capabilities of Fabric, and what are the benefits of Fabric. And as you see here, we have predominant experience in some of the industries which we have highlighted here. So healthcare, manufacturing, retail, and BFSI. Next slide, please. Yeah, that's all. Thank you so much from my end, and over to you, Varma.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me? Yeah. So just to give a quick brief, like Banu has mentioned, we are a certified Microsoft partner. Like you can see the differentiators on the right for every feature within Fabric. We are a Fabric feature partner on overall as a platform. Then on the databases, then RTI and Purview we led partner, right? And then if you see the overall spectrum across which we kind of operate, we do a lot of customer implementations. We have done close to 200 plus customer implementations across the globe, and we also have multiple accelerators or solutions that help you to kind of adopt Fabric or other data platforms at scale, right? And then we also have close to 250 plus certified professionals specifically on Fabric and required expertise for all of this. Yeah, and we also conduct in a day sessions. Like you see, one of these sessions, it's something like Fabric in a day, where you get used to kind of understand how you can adopt Fabric at scale, as well as different options now, right? Like RTA in a day, then chat with your data in a day, and we also do dashboard in a day. So, any interest in terms of understanding what the platform can do at different areas, feel free to kind of nominate. We will share the details around how to nominate offline, right? And then we also conduct multiple events and workshops across the globe, in-person events as well as the webinars like you are participating today. And we have our own tool called QMigrator, which is a proprietary tool developed in-house to enable migrations from different platforms like Databricks, Oracle, Synapse, as well as any reporting platform migrations like Tableau and other areas to Fabric or Power BI. Right. Yeah. Next slide, please. Right. So this typically talks about overall center of excellence in terms of how we operate. Like you can see on the first box, right? We conduct assessments trying to understand your ecosystem as well as provide the required strategy and roadmap for how you want to kind of modernize your platforms, whether it is greenfield implementation or brownfield implementation. We also kind of provide recommendations to kind of create scalable, well-governed platforms on Microsoft Fabric, right? And then we also do consultations and end-to-end implementations across all the platforms, right? In terms of the solutions and accelerators, you can see different industry verticals that we operate on, as well as different platforms or the integration tools that we have on the bottom left, right? And then the bottom right talks about some of the early adopters of Fabric. These are some of the very few, but we have close to 100 plus customers across the globe. Okay. Yeah. Next slide, please. So this is a typical architecture overall on how kind of we can leverage Fabric to modernize your platform, bring one single data lake across all your organization, right? Right from getting data from structured data sets like SQL Server, databases like Postgre, Oracle, and all the structured data sources. We also kind of support unstructured data, like you might have a PDF file, you might have an email or an audio recording or transcripts. All of them can be kind of moved into Fabric, convert into structured data, as well as we have something new as part of Fabric, which is called real-time intelligence, where you can stream the data directly from any real-time sources like IoT Hub or Event Hub, where you can take uh, actions or analytics on real-time data, right? So anything that requires lower latency and then you want to take decisions faster, you can always leverage streaming data sources, right? And then once we bring the data, this acts as your end-to-end platform for your organization, acts as a single source of truth across all the departments, right? So you can bring in data from your ERP, CRM, or your sales, finance, HR, all of them into single platform. Fabric supports petabyte scale of data analysis, right? And then you can always build standardized layers, right? The data lands as is in raw. We call it the medallion architecture. Then we have different accelerators or tools to kind of standardize the data, bring in your standardized enterprise data warehouse model, like your facts and dimensions, your different subject areas, business units, and all of it, and build the KPIs required for the business on the gold layer, right? And then we also have the capability within Fabric to run some data analysis and data science models, which can do some kind of a predictive analytics on top of your data, right? For example, in a banking or retail industry, we can look at customer churn, and for some of the customer sentiment analysis from Twitter or other social media platforms to understand how the product is being received in the public, right? As well as your enterprise level inventory optimization. How do you want to do supply chain optimization, demand planning, behavior analysis? All of those are possible within Fabric, right? And Fabric comes with Copilot across all the layers, both in terms of developer productivity enhancement as well as an end user where I can query with the data. We'll see more demos on that particular topic where you already have a Power BI report where end users can ask questions on top of it and get natural language responses. That way, it helps you to kind of understand the data better. And also, as a developer, when you want to develop reports and write code, Copilot kind of helps you improve the productivity across the platform, right? And as a overall enterprise level platforms, right, we always need to ensure we bring in the right sanctity of the data, data governance, how you kind of manage your PI data or sensitive data, then also kind of cater to your compliance like banking or any other issues. All of them are supported within Fabric. Most of the compliance are already available as part of the platform. So we have seen even sensitive customers like banking, healthcare also adopt Fabric at scale. Okay, thank you. Let's move on to the next slide, please. Okay. So now I'll hand it over to Sheikh, who will walk you through the different capabilities, features, and then provide you hands-on demos on what each feature is possible. Right. Yeah. Thanks, everyone. Sheikh, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Verma. Thank you very much. Yeah, let's get started. So, yeah, I wanted to quickly let you know, I think we'll center the entire conversation around the Fabric IQ framework. So we'll quickly look at what are the different layers involved from bottom to top, as you can see here, right from the unification of your entire data estate, how Fabric IQ as a framework helps you to unify your data estate, and then we process and harmonize data. So this framework kinds of helps us explain Fabric as more than a data platform, right? It becomes a foundation, you can say, for trusted analytics and AI. So moving from unified data to harmonize your data and then semantic knowledge on top of it. And then finally empower your AI agents that can reason over a business context. So Fabric IQ matters because your enterprise data, right? So enterprise AI, if you're planning for AI code applications, not just analytics, it needs more than the data access itself, right? It needs the required business context. And probably I think in the next 30 minutes, we will zoom into each of these layers and bits and pieces of information. How are we going to unify data state and move forward, and then process and harmonize data? And we zoom into each of these layers and talk about different technology areas that we have within this framework. Yeah, next slide, please. Yeah, with respect to unification of your data estate, so we all know, maybe a quick recap, we can quickly go through about one lake, shortcuts, mirroring, and what are the different technology areas that we can use to unify our data within one lake, right? So one lake as a technology, I'm sure all of you are a bit aware of it, but a quick recap, that's the OneDrive for your data. It's a multi-cloud SaaS data lake, you can call it, with one single open format for storing and querying your data organizational wide, right? So we have multiple compute experiences, as you can see, or Fabric experiences, be it data factory or data warehouse, lakehouse experiences, or real-time intelligence, Power BI, and we have this IQ workload now within Fabric. So all of these workloads are going to store our data in one single format, which is Delta Parquet format, across the entire organization, and it is automatically indexed as well to simplify your discovery and sharing as well. And we have this built-in One Lake catalog. We will probably take you through a quick demo on governance security tab, which is currently GA. So for end-to-end governance across your entire workloads. And also the One Lake security, we will quickly take a zoom into it a bit on One Lake security as well, to try and see how we can define those RBAC roles and set up the fine-grained access control at the table level, column level, RLS, CLS, and how we can make sure, I think, you take your security closer to your data, right? So that's something we can take a quick look as well. But I think One Lake as a technology, we all know, I think that's your logical namespace, which span across the entire planet, across multiple regions, across the entire planet. Yeah, next slide, please. Yeah, so I think when we talk about the unification of your data within One Lake, so there are quite a couple of technology areas, like we have shortcuts, cross-cloud shortcuts and mirroring, but when to use which one depends on the use case. But we'll quickly go through the current support or the connected support that we have with respect to external shortcuts, a couple of types of shortcuts that we have, and then the mirroring capabilities as well. Right, so shortcuts, as we all know, just a quick recap, it's just the symbolic link, or you can say the reference point, that we can try and avoid the data movement or duplication. So we try and connect to GCP or Amazon buckets or even on-premises systems, and try and bring our data. So the data still resides in the underlying sources. We are just creating that symbolic link without moving your data into your One Lake storage itself. But mirroring, on the other hand, as we know, it creates that reflection of your entire database in One Lake. So that's more like, if you want to build an analytical system, and if you want to take a reflection of your operational systems into your bronze layer, let's say in medallion architecture. And that's one of the use case that we can think of when you're planning to implement mirroring, right? But shortcuts, it has a bit of latency compared to mirroring, but we can also take a look at the kind of connector support we have with respect to external connectors when you're planning to create shortcuts. Yeah, next slide, please. So shortcuts, as we know, we have a couple of types of shortcuts that you can create. One is internal One Lake shortcuts. So this is quietly, used when you're planning to, let's say, try and reuse your data sets from across your workspace, or you may have data which is reusable across multiple departments. And if you want to reuse it within your organization, I think internal shortcuts will help you to achieve that, just that. External shortcuts, as you can see here, we have the current support to Amazon S3 compatible shortcuts, and ADLS Gen 2 in Azure, blob storage shortcuts, Dataverse, Google Cloud Storage, and we have Iceberg support. And also, I think Microsoft recently expanded or extended this support to the files as well, right? OneDrive and SharePoint shortcuts, which is currently GA as well, right? So these are the kind of support we have when it comes to external One Lake shortcuts. So you have to decide, probably based on the use case, whether you want to go for external shortcuts or mirroring. Probably we have to make that decision accordingly based on the use case. Yeah, next slide, please. And I think with respect to the shortcut transformations, if you're planning to create any external shortcut, so we know that the native format within Fabric is the Delta Parquet format. But what if you need to connect to file formats apart from Delta Parquet, right? So it could be CSV files or JSON, or we now have Excel support as well. So I think Microsoft is taking that heavy lifting. So all of the transformations, it will be happened automatically. So at the time of creating the shortcut, and even you have this enhanced AI support as well into the PI detection, translation, text summary, or the other areas as well, right? So it will be automatically done. So and also, as I said, seamless enrichment with AI in One Lake. If you're planning to connect to file formats apart from your Delta Parquet. So yeah, next slide, please. On the mirroring side, I think the support is now extended to multiple sources, as you can see here. So the ones that are generally available here, we have Azure Cosmos DB, PostgreSQL, and SQL Server 2025, Oracle DB, Snowflake, Iceberg, a lot of support, even SAP DataSphere, Azure SQL MI, and we have a few coming soon that you can see there, the Dremio and the other one. And the public preview items as well. So then our support is getting extended to Google BigQuery and Microsoft Dataverse as well. So yeah, so the file support is also getting extended. So Microsoft is making sure the support is getting extended to the other sources and the coverage is extended. Yeah, thank you. So let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so I think now let's talk about the opportunity with the streaming data. So we have within Fabric the real-time intelligence layer or the stack itself within the Fabric. So what are the advantages or benefits of leveraging real-time intelligence within Fabric? So operational efficiency, so you can streamline your processes and make data-driven decisions with accurate information. And end-to-end visibility, you get a holistic understanding of your entire business health. And then you can discover actionable insights for any timely action that you may wanted to take. And the competitive advantage, right? So you wanted to quickly react to the shifting market trends, right? So not reactive ones, to try and identify any opportunities in any domain, and then try and mitigate any risk in real time. So let's take a look at so I think this is a good slide to talk about from the current state to where we are leading to if you are leveraging a platform like real-time intelligence within Fabric. So from fragmented, fragile tech stack to one unified SaaS solution, then advanced skill sets required to accessible data and analytics tools, and no more faster data, batch data processing. So we have real-time data event ingestion happening into the one lake, and data silos and lack of governance to one unified single data estates right there. Hard to find unknown unknowns to AI-powered insights and actions. Yeah, next slide. I think we'll take a quick look at the demo. So if we can please play this couple of minutes demo, Vamshi. We can't hear the sound. And can you please make sure I think you unmute and play the video? Vamshi, are you there? Okay, just give us a second. I think we will reshare.
Intelligence in Microsoft Fabric, an end-to-end solution empowering you to get instant, actionable insights on streaming data. At its heart lies a central place to discover, manage, and consume event data across your entire organization with a rich, governed experience. Get started quickly by bringing in data from Microsoft sources and across clouds with a variety of out-of-the-box connectors. Route the relevant data to the right destination in Fabric using a simple drag-and-drop experience. Explore insights on petabytes of streaming data with just a few clicks. Elevate your analysis by harnessing the intelligence of Copilot in Microsoft Fabric using simple, natural language. Make efficient business decisions in the moment with real-time, actionable insights and respond to changing landscapes proactively. Allow users to monitor the data they care about, detect changing patterns, and set alerts or actions that drive business value. All your data, all your teams, all in one place. This is Microsoft Fabric.
Yeah, thank you, Vamshi. Next slide, please. Yeah, so let's take a quick look at the different components. It's quite simplified, as you can see here, compared to any of the other real-time architecture, real-time intelligence architecture that you may have seen. So we have this event stream with a variety of connector support, as we have seen just now in the video. A lot of connector support for you to try and ingest the real-time streaming data via event stream. So we have this component called event stream. And we have event house with inbuilt KQL database to store all of your streaming real-time events, right? So, and then if you want to make this data available across organization, then you may want to enable the one lake availability explicitly, right? So because you need to make sure that's by default, it's not enabled, and we'll make it enabled to make sure I think it's widely used across the organization if you want to reuse the data that's coming in. And I think we have the SQL query sets if you want to perform real-time analysis as and when the data comes in via event stream into your event house. You can create multiple KQL databases within these event house to try and perform the required analysis, real-time analysis on the incoming streaming data. And the cool thing is you also can build a real-time dashboard on top of the KQL queries as and when you perform some real-time analysis. And we have this activator in case if you are planning to send some alerts to uh, the business based on the business events, then you can set up those alerts with the help of activator, and you build your data agent and the Power BI dashboard experiences on top of it. And we have this real-time hub, which is the central location to govern and govern all of your data in motion, right? So that's right there to help you to try and look at everything in one single location. And yeah, so thank you. And let's move to the next slide, please, Vamshi. Yeah, with respect to governance and security, as I said, I think we have this One Lake catalog, which is in GA. So we'll take a quick look at the aspects of the governance and security within One Lake catalog. So next slide, please. So the governance part within One Lake, so we have the separate govern tab. We'll take a quick look at the demo shortly, but as you can see here, we have the govern tab for admins, for organizational wide insights and reconciliations. So there are a few things which is in public preview. So this govern tab will help you to quickly look at some recommendations, organizational wide recommendations at a quick glance, or any actions that you may want to take. For example, you may want to set the sensitivity labels or endorsements at the organizational level. So everything you can do right within the single place within the govern tab in One Lake catalog. Yeah, next slide, please, Vamshi. We'll take a look at the security tab. The One Lake security, as I briefly talked about, it's now generally available recently for centralized enterprise security. So we are moving this security aspect closer to the data now to manage all of your organizational-wide permissions through unified One Lake roles, the RBAC roles that you can create, and you can control at the table level, and then you can go at the fine-grained level into the row level, column level security, all within one single location within One Lake, the security tab within the One Lake catalog, right? So we can take a look at the quick demo in the upcoming slides so to get more idea about this. Yeah, so if you can please play this.
And before I've even started looking for problems, the catalog is already telling me where they are. Right away, I see a notification. I've got a lack of coverage on sensitivity labels. Okay, but where? I ask Copilot, it scans across my domains and tells me it's sales. Of course it's sales. One click, I activate the default sensitivity label policy at the domain layer. Every item in sales is now automatically protected. Monday morning governance handled before my second cup of coffee. But Copilot's just getting warmed up. Let me put on a different hat. I'm the data engineer now, the person responsible for making sure the data that hundreds of analysts, business users, and now AI agents depend on is trustworthy. I pull up my semantic model. Everything I need is right there. Tags, owners, endorsements, sensitivity labels. I need a description generated by Copilot with one click. No more mystery, empty descriptions. Now it's end of the year. Sales is closing out revenue numbers. I search for orders, filter to sales, and here's something brand new. I can see the full schema of a lakehouse down to every column right here in the catalog. But wait, there's a social security number in the sales lakehouse flowing into semantic models, into reports. And when I check permissions, there are users on this lakehouse who have no business seeing social security numbers. Now you may be thinking, Patrick, you found the fire. How many tools do you need to open up to put it out? In the past, way too many, but not anymore. Right here, without leaving One Lake catalog, I create a security role. I pick the table, choose column level security, remove social security number, and I add the users who shouldn't see it. Done. And here's what changes everything. The one role applies across every workload in Microsoft Fabric, the Lakehouse, the Event House, even outside apps like Excel. One role, one definition everywhere.
Yeah, thank you, Vamshi. Yeah, so I hope that gave you a clear idea on the One Lake security with a quick demo. So now let's move to the next layer. So we have seen, we looked at the unification part with shortcuts, mirroring, And we also looked at the real-time intelligence capabilities as well. Now, when we move on to process and harmonizing your data, so we have Data Factory within Fabric. So the Azure, much like Azure, the similar experience as you may have seen in Azure. So we have the same experience within Fabric, with more than 170 or 200 plus connectors seamlessly available right within the Data Factory experience. So you can take a look, and then the integration is quite possible to any connector that you may want to connect within the Data Factory to try and unify your data within one lake. Next slide, please, Vamshi. So I think you can take a look at the momentum already. So with few metrics right out there. So those are bigger numbers, as you can see here. The orchestration runs per month, the data move per month, and the data gateway so far. So the momentum is huge within Data Factory if you're planning to build those pipelines and parameterize it, and whatever connectors that you may want to connect. So the momentum is happening within Data Factory within Fabric now. Yeah, next slide, please. So I think the cool thing is, in case if you're already on Azure, you're using Data Factory, you have those pipelines already built up. So Microsoft just recently launched this migration assistant, which helps you to do this end-to-end parity and simple guided tooling within the Azure, and then you try and perform those required assessments, and which is in preview at the moment. So we can take a look at how the assessments are happening, and then how you can plan to migrate your workloads, Data Factory workloads to Fabric Data Factory. Yeah. So next slide, please. So I think few quick news from the recent Fabric conference. As you can see here, the Dataflow Gen 2, the destinations keep extending to Snowflake, Excel. We had Lakehouse, even House, some of the destinations. If you're planning to do all of the transformations upstream, if you're planning to build a direct lake semantic model, so the support is getting extended to the destination at the destination level. And we have interval-based scheduling, then Airflow workspace identity support. So those are all like on the unification, transforming, or orchestration side. On the AI-powered integration modernization, so we have this migration assistant and AI transforms. So that's something called AI transformation in Dataflow Gen 2, which you can take a look. And we have pipeline expression Copilot, which will be handy in case if you're building complex pipeline expressions when you're building it. So Copilot is right there to help you speed up the expression builder area, right? And we have Data Factory MCP server as well, recently launched in the FabCon. So those are quick announcements. And when we move on to the third layer, which is to curate semantic knowledge, and I think this is the heart of Fabric IQ framework, as we discussed. Components like ontology will come in. We'll talk about those areas, and how it helps us to kind of bring that governed, some shared business meaning to your enterprise data, right? So let's take a look at a few things around this area, IQ, right? So that's your semantic foundation to power your business and AI. This layer is where data becomes meaningful, where we move from raw tables and technical structures into governed business ready knowledge, right? So in the previous slide, please, Vamshi. So we look at three different outcomes that IQ is going to help you with. So kind of unify your business semantics across your data, or even models, rules, or any actions that you may have, and then understand and act on live context-rich insights. You can reuse these semantic models that you may have, and then the third outcome is to power your AI agents in Foundry as well as Fabric. Yeah, the next slide, please. Yeah, so this is the slide shows how Fabric IQ build intelligence in layers, right? So from unifying your data, and then to business intelligence with your semantic models, and then the operational intelligence with your ontologies, right? So at the bottom, we have unified data. This includes, let's say, one lake, your Lakehouse, warehouse, so kind of unification, as we already talked about. And this is going to be the technical foundation, but by itself, it is not enough, I would say. Business intelligence is where you define your KPIs, metrics, dashboards, and decision-making views. And then on top of it, we have this ontology where we add business semantics to all of the entities that you have within your data. And then you bring the business closer to real-time action with the operational intelligence. This is where I think I would say curated data can support monitoring alerts, setting up alerts, operational decisions, or even AI-assisted responses. So the value actually increases as we move upward from unification of data to BI and then to the operational intelligence layer. Yeah, next slide, please. Let's take a quick look at this IQ demo. So, then I think you'll get some idea around the ontology that we're discussing here. Yeah, can you please play? Yeah.
Data is the fuel that powers AI, but data alone is not enough. AI needs an understanding of what the data means, how things relate, and which actions turn insight into impact. Introducing Microsoft Fabric IQ, the semantic foundation that unites data, business meaning, and action into a single unified view of your organization. Model your business using visual, no-code tools so the people who know your company can adapt it as fast as it evolves. Create entities over all your data in one lake, not only your analytical data and Power BI semantic models, but also your operational, geospatial, and real-time data. Navigate your business the way it actually runs, not by tables and schemas, but by organizational concepts. And ultimately, elevate your teams and your AI to ask questions, reason, and act in the language of your business. Powered by this live, unified view of your organization, trigger actions in real time using rules, and empower AI operations agents to run your business, because now they understand its live context. Connect Fabric IQ seamlessly with Foundry IQ, uniting your live business context with the knowledge captured in your documents and communications. This combination from Microsoft gives developer-built agents in Foundry unmatched context, so they can make decisions you trust and continuously optimize your operations for superior outcomes. From unified data to unified intelligence, this is IQ in Microsoft Fabric. Data is the fuel that powers.
Yeah. Thank you, Vamshi. Next slide, please. Yeah, I think let's get into the final layer where we talk about how we can empower AI agents, right? So we talked about the IQ layer, the curation of your semantic knowledge. That's where you build your ontology, as we have seen in the video, to try and build that graph, and then define the business meaning to all of the entities that you have. And then I think the AI-powered experiences are now possible on top of the curated semantic layer that you may already have. It could be semantic models or ontology that you may build on top of your data that you have within your estate. So with respect to AI-powered experiences within Fabric, so let's talk about three things. So when it comes to productivity with Copilot and Fabric, Copilot, as Varma also mentioned at the start, is infused at every single layer within Fabric across your entire data lifecycle. So you stay focused on unlocking the true value from your data, without worrying too much about the developer aspect, right? So to try and speed up the development aspects or the developer productivity, I can say that. So with built-in Copilot experiences. So we take a look at what are those areas where we have within Fabric where you can speed up the development within the Fabric. And you have to chat with your data experiences, right? So we create Q&A experiences on top of your data. So I think we have multiple areas where we talk about, like we have standalone Copilot within Fabric, or you can leverage Copilot within Power BI, right? So and then we have some prep data for AI tooling within the Power BI, so that you can make sure, I think, the questions that you ask on Copilot is providing you the grounded answers, right? So then you prepare your Copilot and tell Copilot what you need to look at, and providing those AI instructions and things like that. And then we have something called data agent, right? So we quickly talk about in the upcoming slides how it is different from the standalone Copilot experiences. Why would you want to go ahead and build a data agent for custom AI solutions, right? So we'll quickly look at all these areas and try and understand what are these AI-powered experiences. So on the productivity side, the Copilot, as I said, is infused at every single layer in Data Factory. If you're planning to build those data pipelines, or in real-time intelligence, it's already GA. So if you're building those KQL custom query language queries to perform those real-time data analysis on your streaming data, it's going to help you build those real-time dashboards and then speed up the querying process itself. And you have databases, then data engineering, data science, wherever, I mean, you take the component or the experience within Fabric, you have Copilot right there to help speed up the productivity within the Fabric data platform itself. Yeah, next slide, please. Yeah, so let's take a quick look at the standalone aspect in Fabric, and then we talk about data agent, and then we quickly talk about the differences between the standalone as well as the data agent, right? So can you please play this quick demo on the standalone one?
Standalone Copilot at Power BI. Think of it as your go-to space to ask questions about any report, model, or data agent you have access to, all in one place. Unlike the Copilot pane, which only lets you ask about the report you currently have open, the standalone Copilot lets you start broad and ask questions without specifying what data to use, and will start looking for the right data to provide you with an answer. Copilot searches for items based on a variety of factors, including their content, how recently you used them, and more. It also now boosts items that have been prepped for AI higher in the list. Note how these two have verified answers, and this one says it's been prepped for AI as well. It also adds these new Copilot generated descriptions to help folks decide which item would work best for them. I can see the report I want, so I'll select it using these buttons, and Copilot will generate a response. Here, we can see my question partially matched a verified answer, show monthly spending trends in tourism. And Copilot went the extra mile and filtered it down to only show data for Maui, like I asked. We can continue to ask questions about Hawaii tourism, like show spending per day by island, and Copilot will intuitively understand to use the same report. But as soon as we change the subject and ask about temperatures on Mount Rainier, it starts looking for new data, showing that it understands the data context you're asking about. Alternatively, if you have a question in mind and know specifically what data you want to use, you can easily attach it. Our updated menu has all item types in one list, organized by recency to speed things up. I want to use our campaign analysis data, so I'll just select it here and ask my question to get the answer I need. Standalone Copilot is built to meet you where you are, whether you know the data you want to use or just the question you want answered. Insights are always within reach. Let's take a look.
Thank you, Vamshi. Can you please? Yeah, so as we have seen in the video, I think it's on the broader aspect, right? So across your entire organization, but you can still provide the scope to any report, semantic model, or whatever that may be, right? So you can still ask those specific questions, but it's at the broader level. You may not have more customization. You cannot provide those AI instructions like in Data Agent in the standalone Copilot, but you can ask those questions by providing the required scope as we have seen in the video. But on the other side, data agent, you can think of it as a virtual data analyst. So to have more control over your probably the response that you may get, right? So for more customization, as we can say. So the interaction is going to be enhanced, as you can see here. You create those conversational agents that actually understand you, try and attach specific data sources. It could be your semantic model, lakehouse, and then ask those specific questions on top of those data sources that you're tagging there, right? So that makes it easy for non-technical users to get reliable data-driven answers and faster time to insights, as we know that. So it's going to significantly reduce the time as well, and improve query capabilities as well. You train the data agent with the A instructions, right? So at the data source, we have a couple of things. You can set up the instructions, the A instructions, and also at the data source level, you can provide some instructions at the data source level as well. And I think there is a limitation. I think you can connect up to 5 different data sources in the data agent. It could be lakehouse endpoints, KQ databases, and semantic models, right? So, but you can also access within and outside of Fabric as well. So let's quickly go through the differences, right? So to try and understand what are the differences, when you need to go for data agent and standalone Copilot. So with respect to scope, as we have seen, standalone Copilot is the broader access across all the workspaces within your organization. But if you want curated agents or conversational experiences to specific data sets that you may need to tag, then you can go for data agents, right? And also on the customization side, it's highly customizable with AI instructions and even data source instructions. And standalone Copilot, it's very limited. You cannot provide those AI instructions at all. And data source control, you can even get into the table level in data agent, right? You can attach a lakehouse, and then you can select specific tables and sources, and then you can narrow down your scope, I would say, on the data agent. But on the other side, I think standalone Copilot, you can still set some scope at the report level or all the available semantic models that you can attach and then ask those questions. On the tuning side, yeah, it supports the tone format, even you can set up the source priority. In data agent, if you're setting up more than tagging more than one sources, you can tell the data agent or provide the instruction, I have to go it in this specific order. I need to set up the source priority, right? Or if I ask any questions related to lead time or any specific questions related to that, then you need the agent needs to go through a specific source. You can set up those kind of instructions to let it know how it needs to behave based on the user questions. But the standalone Copilot, we don't have any instruction support at all. That's for more like a general exploration and discovery, right? That the use case we can talk about. But for targeted insights and more specific, specialized scenarios for curated data sets, then you would go for data agents. And on the integration side, it's quite shareable, the data agents that you're creating across Teams and Copilot Studio. But standalone Copilot, it's quite embedded within the Fabric workspace itself. Yeah, so let's play a quick video on the data agent, and then we'll try and understand this.
And I've built a data agent in Fabric called Java Trade Expert. This agent connects information across multiple sources. One of the sources is an event house that tracks real-time customer activity. We've added a new capability that allows data agents to leverage KQL or SQL functions. This allows you to encapsulate complex logic in functions that the agent can call. This approach makes answers more reliable and easier to maintain. Next, I want to highlight Graph as a new data source supported in data agents. Here, I'm connecting the agent to our finance loan graph. What makes a graph powerful is that it captures rich relationships across entities. Here, you can see the nodes and edges in our graph source. Now, let's take a look at the agent configurations. Here, we have high-level instructions describing the role of the agent and the type of insights it should provide. Then for each data source, we've added detailed instructions. These instructions help the agent on how to best retrieve and structure the response. Now let's ask a test question that targets the graph source. Trace the life cycle of a loan from application to servicing. What stages exist? The agent recognizes that this question relates to the loan graph, and it uses its built-in tool to traverse the graph and construct an answer. The response comes back as a structured explanation of the end-to-end process. I've also added another source, a retail ontology. The value of an ontology is that it provides business context and meaning. So instead of reasoning only over raw data structures, the agent can interpret questions using the language of the business. And the nice part is that this requires no additional setup in the data agent. Now let's publish the agent so it can be used outside of Fabric to answer questions over our data sources, including the context in our retail ontology. Once published, the Java Trade Expert becomes available directly in Microsoft 365. I can simply select my data agent and start asking questions. Which regions have the most customers but the fewest stores? This question runs against the retail ontology, and the Fabric data agent returns a rich response explaining the regions where customer concentration is high but store coverage is limited. The answer comes along a set of visualizations helping the user to better interpret insights. So with Fabric data agents, we can configure a domain expert, combining insights from a variety of data and knowledge sources.
Yeah, thank you,
I'm
Vamshi.
an analyst at Zap.
Yeah, thank you. So I think that gave you a quick idea about the graph source or ontology that you can attach. And the cool part is it knows which source it needs to, or even you can set up the data source priority in data agent to traverse across multiple sources that you're tagging. Okay, now we looked at those 4 layers in Fabric IQ framework, and I hope you have a bit of idea now on these 4 layers. But let's quickly look at the developer experience improvements. The tabbed experience to and also the workspace, like the Explorer view. There are quite a lot of developer experience improvements that happened that are generally available, as you can see. You can even switch fluidly between projects and the tabbed experiences as well. Yeah, next slide, please. We'll take a look at a few more. I think the end-to-end CI/CD part as well. You can now use selective branching. This is in public preview. To compare the workspace level changes or visualize your Git branch structure right within Fabric. And even you can parameterize deployments as well. So this is currently in preview, recently launched for end-to-end CI/CD. Yeah, next slide. Okay, I think few quick information on the developer productivity side, the Fabcon news. You can see we have on the left side recycling bin for soft deletes. So if you're by accidentally deleting any items within the workspace, that's going to get into the recycle bin. So for soft deletes, so that you can always recover the information that you accidentally deleted. And focus mode enhancements and customizable tab settings that we have on the right top on the Fabric, and multitasking for monitoring pages and support for multitask workflows in one workspace. And on the CI/CD and automation extensibility side, quite a few items are in GA, which is the Fabric Extensibility Toolkit, in case if you're planning to build your own custom workload. So Microsoft is providing this extensibility toolkit, which is currently in GA, so that you can build your own custom solutions, and you can even deploy that in the as a part of the partner solutions, right? And you have Fabric Python SDK and CI/CD and Fabric CLI. All those are now generally available, and you have bulk import export REST APIs and GitHub Enterprise Cloud with support for data residency as well to maximize the developer experiences. Yeah, next slide. Okay, few quick feature walkthrough, so which are in preview right now. The workspace level search protection, which you can now go ahead and apply the workspace level limits to accommodate any capacity demand, right? To try and block any noisy workspaces when needed during any usage spikes. So that's currently in public preview. You can go ahead in the admin portal, and then the capacity settings, you can right away set the workspace consumption and then the rejection threshold and other information. You can manage all of this directly from within the admin portal to control the search at the workspace level to protect your workspaces. Yeah, next slide. And we'll also look at the capacity overage billing. And what if the capacity that you procured, the SKU, are exceeding the limits? So Microsoft is providing this capacity overage billing. It will automatically prevent those throttling during the peak periods, right? So you only pay for those extra usage when the limit actually increases. And how cool is that, right? So you set the spending limits, and even you can control the spending limits, the 24-hour overage limit. And if you're within that limit, then you're going to be charged only for that extra usage. So you have to the right sizing of your SKU, right? So you no need to over provision your SKU, considering the spikes that you have. So you can set those limits, and then it will be taken care, and then you'll be paying those additional amount only for the extra usage. Okay. Yeah. Next slide. Yeah, migration assistant. I think we have already seen that. So you can take advantage of the migration assistant if you're planning to migrate your Azure Data Factory workloads to Fabric Data Factory. That we have already seen. And next slide. Yeah, materialized lake views, which is generally available. And I'm sure many of you heard about MLVs within Lakehouse. It is generally available for production capabilities now. You can even refresh the views independently across Lakehouse or even DAG chains, right? So that's going to help you to speed up the production process, right? So now it's generally available. You can take advantage of it. Okay. I think that's pretty much it. So can you move on to next slide? Okay, so I think few admin level controls that we have here. So what are all in GA with respect to admin controls? As we talked about, the govern tab for admins, then DLP policies for structured data. So those are all generally available within OneLake catalog. And we have public search API, MCP, and a few other things which are recently in preview. And on the enterprise security side, workspace level IP filtering, which is GA, and you can bring your own keys, and the CMK integration support is also there. And expanded outbound access protection across your workloads, and expanded private link support as well. Those are all in, I think, preview at the moment. So yeah, so you can say secure, scale, and sustain your data estate. So take a look at all of these recently launched features and what are all in GA for enterprise-wide security. Yeah, next slide. And I think, yeah, so over to Vamshi or Verma to take through the customer references and architectures. Thank you, everyone.
I'll take it up. So these are the use cases which we want to talk on the where we have implemented Fabric, right? So for the pharmacy industry, this is one of the biggest chain we are talking about, Apollo Pharmacy, where they have the data in multiple systems like the Microsoft Dynamics 365 SQL database, which is hosted in their on-prem systems, and they do have the data existing in the Synapse warehouse as well, and they do have the data available in the SQL as well, right? So when we have this kind of a data spread across multiple source systems, they want to have a medallion architecture implemented and reports has to be generated across all these data sources. So while we are bringing the data from the Dynamics 365, we have connected with the Dataverse, and from there we have created a Fabric link. From the Fabric link, we have ingested the data into the Fabric. And the same way goes with the SQL database as well that which has been hosted in an on-prem. We have used an on-prem data gateway which has been supported by Fabric itself. From there, we have ingested the same. And for the Synapse, we have done a complete migration. For Synapse migration, there is a tool called OmniLoader and the SQL Tran, which will help you to load the data. OmniLoader will help you to migrate the data from your Synapse to Fabric, and the SQL Tran will help you to migrate your existing to store procs and the metadata on the SQL server side. That's how the SQL Tran and OmniLoader will help you to ingest the data. So on top of this, everywhere we have created the Power BI reports. This is the one use case, and this is where we are going. We have already implemented the real-time intelligence as well. We have multiple data sources. They have, as they have the POS missions where they have the sales are happening, and this is where the Confluent Kafka has been there, and the Avian Kafka is also there. And on top of that, the databases where we have CDC enabled, we have ingested the data into the real-time event streams with the help of event streams. And then we have created a private workspace for this, where to have the event house related activities to be carried upon within the separate workspace. And from there, we have connecting that to their application itself. That's how we are able to write back to their application, get the information from the application as well, and storing that information into the application database, which is part of Fabric alone. And post that, we are pushing the batch history into the normal medallion architecture, which we've already implemented, right? And on top of this goal layer, we are creating a real-time dashboards. So when coming to the BFSI industry, these are the use cases we have done. This is for one of our a Canadian-based insurance company where they have the data in the SQL database, which is on Azure. And along with that, they do have the files related to the claims and the documents related, everything on the ADLS Gen 2, which is have all the insurance-related documents. So what happened here is they want to have this data together into be in place in Fabric itself. But the challenging is they want to have a decision-making agent which will help them to understand whether to process the claim or not, right? So what happened here is on top of the data agent, whatever we have created, on top of the goal layer, that data information has been passed to an agent orchestrator. Let's assume one of the employee came into this application, right, and they asked for a question whether to process this claim or not. So based on the previous history on the customer, that agent will be the data agent, which is already there on top of the goal layer, will give that information. Along with that, there is a web-based agent which will help you to get outside of information which is not available within the system, which is available over the internet, right? How is there any fraudulent has been mentioned over this company, right? So then this web agent gives that kind of an information. So what does with the help of the RAG-based agent, will combine both this information and give an answer to the within the application, right? Whether to process this claim or not. This is what the whole implementation is about. So coming to the logistics industries, right? So this is where we have done the fleet management, right? The customer having the fleet management, everything coming the data from the open doc, and from the open doc we are pushing the data into the ADLS Gen 2. From the ADLS Gen 2, we are consuming all this data into the Fabric, and we have implemented the medallion architecture here. So this is not a typical medallion architecture because we have the Lakos warehouse and the Lakos again. Generally, we prefer Lakos in the bronze and the silver as well, so also Lakos. But in the warehouse, we'll be having as a gold layer. But here it is in a different way because of the pattern the customer wants to have, right? So once they don't need a silver layer in between, but the silver layer has been moved from the gold layer to silver just because to have the data agent and the data scientist and the ML models to be deployed in the future. That's the reason we have the silver layer post the gold layer. So what we are trying to do here is, so with the help of Azure Function Apps, we will be triggering in a fast API, which will read the emails which are already there on the fleets, right? If there is any delay, and I want to understand where this delay is, how much delay it will be getting, right? So on top of that, so we have deployed three agents, which will one will be the response processing agent, one will be the mail context agent, and one will be the image generation agent. So it depends upon that. If there is any delay, if I want to send back a response, then I will be calling a response processing agent with the help of an agent orchestrator. From that we will be generating an email, and this email will be revert back to the end user who will be updating their delays updated timestamp. That is one use case. So I think we are good from our end. Banu? Yeah, over to you, Banu.
Sure. Thank you so much, Vamshi, and I hope that everybody were able to actually get the insights what you are looking out from our webinar. Please let us know if you have any further inquiries over phone or email. And thank you everyone who has joined us for this webinar. And we can definitely we'll be happy to assist you further. We still have, I think, 10 minutes. If there are any questions, we'll be happy to take it up now. And I see that I think, Varma has been answering to most of the questions on the comment section here. Do we still have any further queries from you? Varma, would you like to take up any questions and then discuss with the team here?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Manu. Just to give you a context, right? Like, I think there are very different and diverse use cases that we have been working on Microsoft Fabric. So, feel free to kind of reach us out offline to kind of understand what benefits you can get out of it, right? So, I see some of the questions like why it has been chosen over the other platforms, or why how much validation is required and all, right? So see, it is all kind of a learning curve for the platform as well as the developer community. So there will always be some minor enhancements needed after the code generated by Copilot and other areas, but the way the platform is enhanced and then new features being added, we are seeing a lot of productivity improvement, and at least the some of the standard use cases are kind of pretty much automated using Copilot on our platforms, right? And then uh, like I also see from Amit saying, is it available for petabyte scale? Yes. So in fact, we are actually working with some of the large enterprise customers like Apollo Hospitals, Apollo Pharmacy, Motherson, and all, where they have huge amount of data, right? So as an example, pharmacy has around 7.5 petabytes of data coming in that was migrated from Synapse to Fabric, that she probably covered. But we are also seeing a lot of integrations from different sources, like their distribution mechanisms, their 24/7 quick commerce outlets, where there is always real-time intelligence capabilities being built to get a feedback out of it and enhance the overall dead stock, the bounce use cases, how they are able to kind of improve the customer satisfaction, right? And yeah, in addition to that, I think I also see some questions like enforcing data access control. We have something called one leg governance, where you can actually define very robust very customizable access controls. In fact, at row level, column level, entity level, you can also define at security groups level. So it's all very robust. Like we are seeing some sensitive domains like BFSI also adopting Fabric, right? For the similar reasons. So from the security governance point of view, it is pretty much capable of handling very high sensitive information as well, right? And I think some of them are asking about compliance and certifications. I've shared some couple of links on the chat which help you to kind of provide the overall compliance in terms of the requirement for different industries like BFSI or healthcare. Uh, so all of them are certified, but like any platform, right? The governance plays a key role. We didn't talk about Purview as a data governance tool, but we always have Purview integrated to Fabric, where you can manage your enterprise level catalog, glossary, access control, and all of it as part of a Microsoft Purview. But it's a separate offering, not part of the Fabric capacity. Okay.
Yeah, we have one more question from
Yeah,
Ahmed.
I'm just looking. Yeah. So, Ahmed, just to answer your question, right? So, the typical smaller use cases or smaller data volumes don't need much of a differentiation. But when you see high volume data, you have a lot of low latency requirements and all, right? In those cases, moving to Fabric helps because we have something called direct click mode, where you are not dependent on refresh cycles or moving the data from there into the memory and all, right? So it helps you to enhance the overall efficiency. uh, for that, I think you need to again bring the data into Fabric, right? So it reduces overall scale. Like we also talk about it in Fabric and list in a day, where if you have three different sources getting data at three different intervals within Power BI, you refresh all of them together. So if you want latest data, you'll have to kind of refresh multiple times in a day. But with Fabric, you can always kind of do a staggered wise data loads as per the source requirements, and then that way, like, you have one single pane, right? You don't actually pull the data multiple times, which improves the efficiency and the overall compute, all the usage of the resources. So the typical architect pattern, like I mentioned on one of the slide, right, with the detailed solution, right, we are typically seeing all kind of patterns, right? Like whether you have medallion based solutions, you have lambda based architecture where you can bring in real time sources as well as put all of these. Okay. Yeah. So put all of these use cases in place, right? All you, if you want to kind of build product-based data product kind of use cases or data mesh kind of use cases, all of them are capable because, see, essentially it's just a consolidation of different individual components that you have, right? Like previously, you used to have ADF, you used to have Databricks or Synapse or Power BI as separate offerings. So there is always that integration headache. You have to mount the data, you have to put the storage layer, all of it, right? With Fabric, you avoid all of those things. So it's, definitely helping enterprise customers work on it. Yeah, I think we have covered this as
Yeah,
well.
we have covered that.
Hmm. Any other questions? Just feel free to kind of drop us a note over email, right? You don't have to kind of confine to this time period or to have any questions answered. And also, like, if you see any potential challenge with your existing data platform, we can always help to kind of do an assessment to understand your ecosystem and provide the right recommendations or to be architecture, right? And then also maybe provide some tips and tricks to kind of enhance your existing platform to kind of achieve the same output at a shorter time. Right? Okay. I don't see any further questions, but yeah, thanks everyone for joining. Hope it was very useful and have learned some new concepts, right? Like you can see, Fabric is not just one platform where we are kind of just adding different processes. We are also enhancing a lot of capabilities where you can see AI being adopted at scale, right? We covered few of these, but there are like operation agents which can automate a lot of processes. We have data agents. Data agents also get an MCP endpoint, so you always have capability to integrate into your web application or other ecosystems where you can build a lot of solutions. And some of the use cases you have seen, we are integrating with Azure AI Foundry. We are also kind of enhancing the productivity. So all of these cases, considering, I think there are a lot of takeaways from the platform. And if you kind of follow Fabric community, you always see new features being launched every other day or every week, right? Yeah. Thank you.
Sure. Absolutely. Thank you, Varma, Vamshi, and Sheikh. And it was really very insightful. And I hope that, I think, if any of the participants are interested to double click on any of the topics, I think, feel free to reach out to us and we'll be happy to assist you further. Okay.